jaunty tune, but you wouldn't want that.
All right, going live.
Nerd, what film's that from?
I don't think it's from a film.
Ooh, it's a famous extra.
What the going live thing?
Yeah, what's it from?
That was Bill O'Reilly when he was working for he was working for Current Affair, I think it was.
Oh shit, yes.
Yeah, and they were trying to do a Sting outro, and however it was written, he got incredibly upset about it. He's just like, I'll just do it myself. I'll just do it because I don't. But the clip, it's like a lot of anger over something. He could have just been like, listen, I'll just do it. But
yeah, he didn't even know that the camera was rolling, did he? Like, he thought they were on break or something. And he's like, "Oh, do it live, fuck it."
Right. Well, I think that was like, how they have the little clips where people mess up and stuff like that, and then they
what was it? Anchorman did something similar. Scotchy, Scotch. I love Scotch. We're live. Like that.
Yes. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Flat Pack Show. Unfortunately, doing it through Google Hangouts, you hear the intro music as well as all you guys chatting.
I hope it's not like sophisticated classical music, because that would be awesome for everyone.
It's our really cool gangster music. Gangster. Hey, we got John Lemus in the chat. What's up, John?
What up, John?
So of course, episode 64 of the Flat Pack Show. I'm of course your host, Flatmeister. Got my fellow co-hosts. We've got Nerd Waffle.
Hey everyone.
We've got Crumple Point with us.
Sup.
But he's switched it up. We haven't got Switch Point this time. But
yeah, I'm the official representative of the Point clan tonight.
We traded Switch for Crumble. I'm just kidding. If you're listening, Switch, or if you listen to this after, we're just joking.
And we have a very special guest. We have Nathyn Masters.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
So Nathyn, we were just sort of getting to know each other a little bit, just off air. But for the people watching at home, do you want to sort of tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am Nathyn Brandon Masters. I am the creator of Night Phoenix Press, and we are a comic book company based in Chicago. I'm also the creator of Time Code Mechanics, which is my YouTube channel, and also my production company. And we do a series of books and movies and obviously YouTube videos and things of that nature. So we also do books as well, actual, books, non-comic books. We do that as well. So we have a lot of stuff that we're doing.
Cool. Yeah, I've yet to check out your YouTube channel, but so with the thumbnail on your IndieGoGo, have you done filmed a short of Victor Locke, Demon Hunter?
We did a film called Epitaph Bread and Salt, and he was the main character. I actually re-uploaded that movie. I had to do some editing on it because YouTube, of course, demonetized it. Mm-hmm. So one of my highest viewed films. So they demonetized that. I had to edit it, put it back up. I did put it back up. I guess last week or week before last, sometime there, I re-uploaded it. So he is the star of that film, and that is a feature length movie. Actually, we shot that back in 2013.
Jeez,
nice.
Thank you.
So you obviously do some filmmaking. I guess I'll be the one to ask that question. Because I guess the designated film asker, because I have a film degree, I guess. But So do you have a film background? Is this sort of the first time you made sort of a film, or
This is that was probably my, let's see, that was my third film, I believe. I did two films before. Did I do? Yeah, I did two films before that, and that was my first film, my first HD film. Is using I guess modern cameras. We were using some of the older digital video cameras, but I mean at the time those were kind of the top of the line. We had the DVX 100. And
oh
we
man,
were shooting on that. Yeah,
DVX 100B is my bread and butter. Yeah, that's an awesome camera. That's what I learned on.
Yep, that's what we used for those first two movies, The Fourth Beast, and then I did a film called The Wages of Sin, which was the first film I starred in. I played a police officer. It was a standard 90s style action movie. Police officer taking on bad cops to root out a like a drug. There's like this drug cartel within the police department, and one of the it was a long convoluted story, and which is really just made for me to do martial arts and beat up bad guys. So hopefully there will be a sequel, but that was also one of my most popular films, and actually to this day it's still one of my most popular films. And then we finally did Epitaph, Bread and Salt. Started shooting that in 2010, I want to say we started shooting that, and we shot that with we started on a Canon HG10. Okay, so we started with that. I had another Canon camera, but it was tape based, and I wanted to move away from that, but we started with the HG10. And if you watch the movie, you'll see that there's parts of it that are shot. When I fight, there's a fight with martial artist named Molly Pan. I think she's a photographer now, but we did a fight scene. And that was shot with the Canon HG10. And there are other things like that shot with, and this was like a little small palm quarter, but it did 24 PhD. We shot with that. And then as time went on, we found a professional photographer who wanted to get into filmmaking. His name was Adam Daniels. He was award-winning photographer, and said, we paid him, but he did a lot of it for the to learn about making films, digital filmmaking, and so he gave us a great deal, and we got some great shots out of that until he had to move to another city. But after he moved, I got a Canon T3i and shot the rest of the movie. So the look stayed consistent. It was all Canon cameras, and
so
we shot it.
Given the Canon Ti, is that the digital, or does that go on the mini DV?
That is it's the digital. Well, they're all digital, but the difference is the file. Like they're tape based versus file based. So
so one had a hard drive, and so the T
right.
The Ti had to have a hard drive. Okay, that's awesome, because like there's nothing worse than like filming and your tape fucking up.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And if you had like back in the day they had those Sony tapes that everybody hated because they had some kind of lubricant on them.
Yeah.
And the lubricant was supposed to work with Sony cameras, but if you used them with other cameras, it was like after time the lubricant would build up, and people would the tapes would, if you use other tapes, it would mess up the. I was just like, nah, I'm good. So I always used the Panasonic tapes, and then I finally moved to the file based recording.
I liked mini DV tapes until me and my friends we shot a film, and we only intended it to be like a little teaser fake trailer, but it actually we were just pumping it out, like the ideas, like we did it all night one night, and we had this thing down, and we had a lot of shots, so we could have actually made a lot longer than just a teaser trailer. But we had this, it was so awesome. It was called Phantom Car, and we had this RX. My friend had an RX-7 at the time, like a Mazda RX-7 rally car. And it looked fucking awesome, and it was black, and and it was nighttime, and my other friend had a Pathfinder truck, and we had this ghost car thing where we had this one car, RX-7, chasing us, and no one was in the car, and we had it filmed that it looked like no one was in the car and they were driving. And as I was digitizing the tape fucked up and I lost everything.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
I was like, never again. I was so glad when things started coming out in hard drives. Now, things can still fuck up on hard drives and cameras, but I mean, I guess I just had a bad experience, so I hate tapes.
Well, once you lose everything, you're done with it. You're looking for. I was lucky enough to never have that problem, but for me, the issue was simply working with tape. It was once I found that you could create files and just drag those files into your camera. I was like, I literally said I will not do another film.
Here's the thing, though, these days is that cell phones are actually so good these days that you can, if you have a really good post-production system, you can actually just film a movie on your cell phone camera, and it's good.
Well, people have done that.
People have made feature-length fucking films that they put in film festivals on their camera, and you couldn't even really tell much of a difference. Because you beef it up, you make it, you sort of you work with it in post-production a bit more to sort of make it a bit more shiny, but yeah. Anyways,
I was just showing the video that was on your IndieGoGo just to the people watching the stream as well. So is like Eastern martial art movies, is that like a bit of a does that inspire you quite a lot with like fight scenes and such in like your own short movies and as well as your comics as well? Do you?
Yes, I'm a big fan of martial art movies in general. The ones that have actually been most influential to me are probably old B movies. Like there was a company called Canon Films way back. Well, I mean, I think just recently they it's probably been a while now, but there was a company called Canon Films, and they used to do all these really kind of B movies, but they had a lot of hits. I mean, RoboCop was a Canon film, and what was the I can't actually think of the Invasion USA. A lot of those Chuck Norris movies were Canon Films, but they had one film, and that film was American Ninja. That series, which I just was fascinated by, and I'd already been into martial art movies, but for some reason, like when I saw American Ninja, that just did it for me, because I loved at that it was martial art films, Bruce Lee. Then I became a fan of ninjas. It's just okay, ninja. If you got a ninja in it, I'm there. And Shokasugi, who actually popped up in Ninja Assassin, he was the old guy. That was Shokasugi. He was in all those ninja films back in the day. And but when American Ninja popped up, it was Michael Dudikoff and Steve James. And I don't know what it was about that film, but that film just kind of made me go, I want to do that. And that looks like so much fun. I want to do that. And as time went on, I got into the Asian action films, because I was not a huge action film guy. I was mostly into if you had martial arts in your action film, I was good, but wasn't really into action like that. I think the first action film that I was into that I really could say, yeah, I really liked this film was Arnold Schwarzenegger did a film called Eraser.
Oh yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, I loved Eraser, and what was the one where he played that Jamie Lee Curtis was in? True Lies.
Oh, True Lies.
True Lies. Yeah, I love those movies, and I became not only an action fan, but an Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. Also, obviously, Terminator 2. I hadn't seen Terminator 1 by the time Terminator 2 it came out. I had seen clips from it, and I finally saw it on TV, and it was interesting to me, but I couldn't really come away from it saying, yeah, I was like a Terminator fan. And then Terminator 2 came out. I was just, that also just kind of, that was the thing that really, got me into action. And then, all like those old school Arnold films. And then after that, the film, I guess, that really got me into actually making films where I said, okay, that's it, I'm going to do it, was El Mariachi, which I was coming off of a John Woo high, and then I saw El Mariachi. I was like, this can be done.
It's been a long time.
Same problem as you with people, because they'll recommend me an action movie or a martial arts movie, and I'm not one for a lot of these Asian martial arts films where there is like, when it'll be marketed as a martial arts movie, but there's maybe like 3 fights in it, but because it has all the trappings and the clothing and everything, people say, oh, it's a martial art movie. It's like, and then that always bothered me. And then on the other hand, you've got like a traditional action movie. It's like, yeah, but where's the fighting in it? I'm not interested.
Exactly.
I'm not interested in like car chases and like people firing endless magazines at each other for an hour and a half. So it's like, RoboCop's probably the exception to that, because there's not really any there is a bit, but there's not much hand-to-hand fighting in that. It's mainly shooting. But that was the big one for me, that I was like, this is Arnold as well.
I think
mainly
with action
in that for me, and that's what actually got me into a lot of the comic stuff I do, is because I liked action, but I wanted to try seeing if it could be done in not in a way that the comics were just imitating a movie, but like an action comic, if you will, that was not just punch, kick, end of scene,
Right.
Yeah. I think that the thing with action movies is that I think that the idea is to pace the action, because I think that action movies start to get boring when it's like, oh, this fight scene was really cool like 10 minutes ago, and they've just been fighting for 20 minutes now.
I mean,
or like, this car chase was cool 20 minutes ago, but now it's been like 40 minutes kind of thing.
I mean, that's what I liked about the Bourne movies, because that introduced like Krav Maga to sort of the mainstream, and especially like the editing style suited the Bourne movies, but it seems Hollywood has co-opted the entire shaky cam in all action movies now. It fitted well with Jason Bourne, because with the shaky cam, it was like the camera would like focus and look at something, or like a pathway. It was showing the audience, oh, this is how Jason Bourne's mind works. He's looking at that alleyway. Oh, is that a potential escape route? Oh, bang, he spotted a car. Right, I'm going to get in that car. Bang, he's off. That editing and camera style suited the Bourne movies. Like I said, it was showing the audience how his mind works on the fly.
Yeah, people to this day, I think, underestimate how much that everyone is still copying the Bourne franchise. And the other thing with the shaky cam, people don't realise, is that one, it was done to give it a bit of visual flair, because he was only using Salat and Krav Maga and a bit of Eskrima, but it was empty hands, so it's just become Salat at that point.
Yeah.
And so those moves are extremely straightforward and not flashy. So to cover up the fact he just punched the guy in the face the same way like 5 times, they would shake the camera around a bit. And if you look at the behind the scenes stuff, Matt Damon can actually do the choreography really well. So they're not disguising him being sloppy at the choreography, which is what they'd have to do for most other action actors.
And especially all the fight scenes happen in like close quarters as well. So I think that like Lord Reginald,
like bathrooms and shit.
Lord Reginald is saying he hates shaky cam, but yeah, I think it works with the Jason Bourne movies that they're in this claustrophobic, tight knit areas, like you said, bathrooms, office spaces. I think the shaky.
I liked it in Cloverfield. I know a lot of people didn't like Cloverfield for that reason.
Gave people motion sickness.
I liked it in that, but again, going back to the point of like that's a different story because that was the whole point of Cloverfield was that wasn't shaky cam, that was found footage. But I mean the camera still shaked or whatever,
Yeah.
but
And what were you going to
that's the
say,
thing.
Nathan?
No, I was just gonna say a lot of people don't even do the shaky cam stuff well because you still have to follow the fight. If you can't follow the fight, it's not a good fight. So that's one of the things about the Bourne films. You're still following the fight scenes. You still know what's going on in the fights, and that's I don't know. That's just like a thing with me. Like I see people try to. I mean, even I will do that sometimes, where I'll do the shaky cam thing. But that's the whole thing, is that you have to be able to follow. You have to be able to follow the fight, and a lot of people can't do it. They just don't do it well.
Night fighting is like a pet peeve of mine when people are like fighting, or like night action when people are fighting and you can't really see what's going on because it's not lit properly and it's dark.
Just before we go on to talk about the comic a bit more, actually, that was one thing that blew me away about the new Avengers shit, is they've given them all identical uniforms. It's like, do you not, like, first rule of comic books, superheroes have different costumes so that you can tell who's doing what at what times, and they go and get rid of them all and put them in a uniform. It's like, holy shit, do you even comic book?
I want a uniform. What's that from 300, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
And I want a uniform.
But isn't that just supposed to be? Aren't those suits supposed to just be for a specific thing, or because from it looks like that? Are you talking about those kind of suits that look
like the
kind of like Iron Man armors? Yeah, aren't those just supposed to be space suits, or are they actually replacing? Because I don't think they're going to replace their outfits unless I saw that wrong. Because that would be stupid.
I just love all the alternate ones where it has like John Wick in one, and it's like Thanos snapped his fingers and killed his new dog or something. So like Avengers went from 3 hours to like 2 minutes or something. Which John Wick is another good example of a good action movie. And I wanted to point out Judge Dredd was a really good action movie because it paced out its action in it too, and had a lot of good story structure in between the action.
Anybody seen anybody seen Collateral?
Yeah, Collateral was fucking awesome.
Oh, is that the Tom Cruise as the hitman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, Jamie Foxx, that thing. I really like that influenced me a lot. I do a lot of stuff at night. I shoot a lot of stuff at night, and that's basically because of that movie. that movie.
That was a really good character piece as well. That movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, talking about the Jason Bourne thing being ripped off all the time, people are still ripping off the nightclub fight from Collateral like every other action movie you see.
Yep.
So with your comic, do you have any comic books that inspire you to like that you sort of really enjoy, that sort of helped you I wouldn't say influence you, but like things you like that sort of influence your creativity, I should say?
I like the probably the biggest influence for that would be the old Heaven and Hell stories over at Image, stuff like what's like Witchblade and Darkness, and all like that whole little thing that was going on. That was probably some of the biggest influences for at least how I see the Victor Locke, particularly that Epitaph / Victor Locke universe. That was just, I don't know. I think wasn't Spun was kind of part of that too, I think. And so it was to see that kind of story structure, that kind of story based around that, and it was just kind of manipulation and backstabbing, and you never necessarily knew who was good or bad, and people could kind of turn. Obviously you knew the hero themselves. You knew where they stood, but the people around them, there was always kind of like a twist and turn around the corner, and I enjoyed that. As a matter of fact, I kind of modeled Victor Locke from that. Whereas, like, you had the darkness. The one thing with the darkness, you had this guy. He was doing this thing, and he's surrounded by these gorgeous women, and there was always like this battle. I was never like a huge fan of the fights in that book, like the actual action that took place in that book, in that series. Sometimes they would have some really great scenes, but just the story structure and everything, and the beautiful women, I was like, that's my story right there. And I kind of took it and I switched it around. So you had Victor Locke. He still kind of has the same story structure. It's got the beautiful women, the story structure, and you have this cool character. And instead of being this guy who has control of all these demons, he's the guy that hunts demons. So there's definitely some influence there. I love that series, and some of the older, like the Rob Liefeld stuff, like just for basic superhero stuff. I would say he was probably a huge influence for just him and Jim Lee for straight up superhero stuff. I just like he was an action guy. No matter what can be said about his artness in general. When it came to those action scenes, he was the man for that. Now, when it came to everything else, it's suspect. But with the action, he definitely did that.
So I'm taking a look at the IndieGoGo here, and I'm just wondering, I'm kind of intrigued. So tell us a little bit about the Victor Locke universe. Don't spoil anything, but just a rough overview in case anybody hasn't heard of it.
Victor Locke is part of an overall universe called the Epitaph universe, which is part of the Night Phoenix Press universe. And the Night Phoenix Press universe is split up into two sectors. You have the sci-fi side and you have the supernatural side, and they intersect sometime because of certain characters. Yeah. And so the Victor Locke side is part of the Epitaph side, which is he's this demon hunter who is fighting against these various cults. There are these cults and things trying to take over the world. So they're dealing with each other, either teaming up, backstabbing. They tend to mess each other up a lot because they don't do well together, because they'll be just as well to stab each other in the back as they will to help each other. Victor is kind of he's there, but he has to fight. He has to kind of turn the tide back, if you will, from all the issues that they cause. One of the big issues that they cause is demonic infestation. Whenever they have this, because of this amount of magic and spell casting and, demonology and things like that they're using, it attracts these supernatural beings. So a lot of supernatural entities and things are being attracted to Chicago, as well as being born into there's a lot of, like, they have these things called neo-nephs, the neo-nephilim, and they're like half human, half demons, and they are actually born in the Sisterhood of Lilith. They are kind of the cause of that. So Victor Locke has to contend with those things, and he is sometimes he is paid to go out and take care of those problems. Like somebody can call him, almost like Ghostbusters. If you can find him, you can call him and say, "Hey, dude, I have a problem." And other times, he'll have to just take out a demon. And a lot of times they are coming after him. So sometimes he'll just be on a stroll and he'll meet up with somebody, and that somebody wants to kick his ass. So and that's what he does, and he has an arsenal of weapons that he fights with. He has some stuff is silver. He uses silver bullets sometimes. Sometimes he uses blessed weapons, holy water, crosses. He can do exorcism. And so he can fight a wide variety of creatures, whether it's incarnate or ethereal. He can typically, he can fight it.
Do you also get inspired by video games as well? Do you play many video games?
I don't play them, but I do get inspired by them. There's a guy on YouTube called the Rad Brad. And, he plays a lot of the horror games, and I will sit there and watch his. And I don't play video. I haven't played video games since like probably 2010 or 11, somewhere in there. I think the last game I played was Halo. I beat Halo. It's like I was trying to win. I got to the last board and I kept messing up. I woke up one day like at 1 a.m. I'm gonna beat this damn game, and I just beat it and then went back to sleep. So that's the last video game that I
remember.
beat.
I think the first Halo had that annoying level where it like repeated the same bridge and connecting room like 2 or 3 times.
What was that with the buggy with the moon with the was that the last one with the buggy where you're trying to actually get off the planet? Was it
not the last level? No, I think it was sort of 3/4 of the way through. I can't remember which level it was. I know my wife could probably remember which one it is.
that was the level that did it for me, because it was the last level, and I kept trying to get it. If the planet would always blow up, like right when I was at the edge, and I woke up, and I was getting ready to go back to sleep. I'm like, no, I'm gonna beat this damn game, and I literally sat down on the floor, started the game up. The game started. I pressed the forward button, kept my finger on the forward button, didn't take it off the forward button, and won the game. Shut it down, went back to sleep. But horror games, I'm a big Resident Evil fan, and it's very funny that I'm a big Resident Evil fan, because I never play Resident Evil. I played the first 2 games, and then I just watch other people play it. And for some reason, when I start watching people, when I watch particularly him play horror games, I really like doing that. I usually end up getting back into filmmaking, a lot of my films are horror, have horror, they have horror elements in them. So I'll sit there, I'll watch this, I'm like, okay, I have to make a movie. And I saw the new Resident Evil remakes. I watched his walkthroughs on that. There's a game. What is that game? The one that takes place in the laboratory, where you only have like the camera, and they're chasing you around.
Oh, is that Outlast? The camcorder.
Outlast, yes. Yes, that's the game with probably the coolest name ever. That game, I watched his walkthrough on that, and a few other games that I love watching horror game walkthroughs, and I'll be taking notes. Like, I'll get ideas and like, oh man, I gotta write that down, and I'll write that down, and so I'll get these ideas from that. So even if you watch my last movie, if you watch Transit, that's like the first part of Transit is an action film, and the second part of Transit is a horror film. And the thing about it is, the first part of Transit takes you through my character, trying to get this disc from this hard flash drive from one person to the other, and he's getting jacked around by his corporation, and he finally gets together with his partner, and they end that story. But the second story is about his partner and how she got in with him, and the things that was going on with her. And like, if you are into what they call those, the ritual games, like, that were all like crazy popular like 2 years ago, that tells you when this film should have came out.
Yeah.
This stayed on my hard drive for like 2 years. But if you're familiar with those, we go into game and all kinds of stuff. And there's I could tell you a whole backstory on that. But I love action horror, and that's how I ended up doing the Victor Locke thing, because the Victor Locke has everything there. You've got your horror, you got your martial arts, you got your gunplay, and that's it. You have everything you need for a great story.
Yeah, when you mentioned the image thing, that was what jumped out at me looking at all these covers. I was thinking immediately of, like, I thought of Spawn and maybe like Lady Death and stuff like that. But I think she was dark.
That's the thing.
Same kind of thing. But like the other thing is, I was going to ask, like with all the sort of mythology type stuff here, did you look into sort of theology sources for this stuff, or did you look more into like pop culture stuff? Because there's a lot of like jargon and different like so you got like Lilith and demonic infestation and stuff like that. So it's pretty technical.
I used to teach the Bible to kids.
Scared the shit out of them as well.
So I have a little bit of background in that, and a lot of the other stuff I researched, like a lot of the actual straight on Jewish mythology and stuff like that. You start getting into things like Dybbuk and some of that kind of stuff. I had to do research on.
Yeah, that was why I wondered, because you don't really see them in like your average vampire flick, and I know a little bit about that sort of stuff, and the only place I'd ever seen it was in the actual, the research, like you're saying.
Yeah, we actually do. If you watch the Epitaph Bread and Salt movie, we didn't go into, and this is why we're probably going to change the name to that later. But if you watch the movie, there's a specific reason why it's Epitaph Bread and Salt, and we never really fleshed it out because we never got around, because the way production failed, we never actually got around to filming those things. But if you watch it, there's this one character who they're fighting, and she gets shot with like a silver, she gets shot with a machine gun with silver shells in it, and she doesn't die. She like looks at them and then she flies off. Well, that character was an Estri, which is a form of vampire in Jewish mythology, and you can't kill them with the normal ways you kill vampires. I mean, even typically, even if you held a cross up to them, they're like, well, what is that? So, he can do that because Victor is blessed. He's kind of like, he is prophesied to come and do these things, but other people aren't necessarily capable of doing that. And whatever the silver and all that stuff, there's very specific ways that you have to kill Estries, and your average person, your average vampire, the stuff that works on average vampires, it doesn't work. I mean, we do a lot of vampires and demonic creatures in here, and we run through all of the in issue 2. We have an Adazi, which is one of the African vampires. We do a lot of that kind of mythology. We just run through everybody's vampires and ghost people and all that stuff. We just kind of run. We have, we go from everything from that kind of stuff to popular stuff like Bloody Mary and stuff like that. Bloody Mary pops up.
Oh, sweet.
Every once in a while, and so all that kind of stuff.
So, question: are you like? I gotta know. Are you a fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and
I love
Angel?
I love. Okay, there's. I talked about this before, but there's a whole story behind this in Buffy and Angel. a while ago, I was creating. I wanted to create a character, and I specifically wanted to create a character that was marketable. You know, and you know, for people, a lot of times people will create things and they are not very good about actually, you know, marketing that stuff and putting that stuff out there. That's the where they kind of fail. You know, they won't market it. But my thing was specifically, I want to create something that I could market and create, and really, and it came to me. It's like, okay, this is what you love. This is what you should create. But the way it came to me was in a dream. It was like I dreamed the character up, and it was funny because of the way I dreamed the character up. But it was a dream with Buffy. Buffy was in the dream, and some of the other characters, and then stuff just got crazy from there. But when I woke up, I was kind of like, "That's my character." And so that's what I ended up doing. I started working on him at that moment. But it was supposed to be a novel at first. I did an interview about this recently too. It was supposed to be a novel at first, and then it was going to be a novel, a comic book, a movie. And what happened was, when I was working on the novel, Blade came out. So I was kind of like pissed. I was more than pissed off because that was literally the way I saw my character. Although I don't know if Victor Locke was as cool as Blade, but his tactics and things were pretty much the way I saw my character. And I didn't start working with this character again until 2000, till 2007 or so, somewhere in there. So I created this character way back in the 90s. Wow. And so Buffy was was probably the inspiration for that character, because I saw that there could probably be a market for a black male demon hunter that did except if you watch the Buffy fight scenes, they were very basic. You know, they were good for that time, but very basic choreography and stuff like that. And I saw a market for something that was kind of like more of like the kind of Asian action cinema type stuff. And that's the way I saw you know, what I wanted to do with the character. And I mean, even if you look at, you can see a lot of the, I won't say you can see it because I haven't done the second movie about him yet, but in the first movie, you can see that his martial arts are, well, no, that's not true, because there's some Krav Maga type stuff in there, but he didn't have defined martial arts at that point, where he was just a martial artist. He was like a self-taught martial artist, and then Krav Maga was one that I knew he was going to use, but the other stuff he was just a martial artist. He was a guy who did generic movie martial arts, and as time went on, I narrowed it down to Krav Maga and I can't believe Taekwondo. So those are his two main martial arts. You know, so looking back on that, I always say those are his two main martial arts. When I play him in the movies, it's always a bunch of other stuff. He's doing kung fu and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So
I mean, all of your covers on your IndieGoGo and all of the artwork just really oozes personality and style.
Thank you.
All of the characters are completely different. Like there's this cover here where Victor's he's holding the double-barreled shotgun. I love like the composition, all the characters.
That actually that was from a cover. That artist had done a cover for another book, and I saw the way he had them spread out. And the one thing he literally had somebody with a shotgun, or was it it was a shotgun or a crossbow? It may have been a crossbow, but the way I'm like, okay, that cover you did, I want that. but this is how I want it.
Hmm.
And so, I kind of broke down, like, I want this character here, that character there. I want it done, done this way. And then we did, and I want it painted. I want it watercolor, and so he actually, went in, did watercolors and everything. So that's the way that's because the book itself is ink wash. So we did everything with pen and ink. We did, we put it in the computer and did some enhancements and stuff to it, but for the majority of it, it's pen and ink work, and we would make little changes and stuff like that in the computer, and then enhancements and stuff. So
I love this. I love this one with the cityscape with the moon and the sort of the train going past.
Yeah, the Victor Locke Demon Hunter cover.
The one with all the that was the one I did. That was the one. Wait, which one? The one with is it the one with the train or the one where they're all standing in front of the buildings?
The one with the train and the moon in the background with the cityscape.
Oh, that is Oren Kramick. He did that cover. That Oren Kramick is if you look at some of the I think it was the Big Dog. Is it Big Dog Inc? I think it's some of their covers. He used to draw for them. He did some work for them, and he also he was working on a similar type of book for them. They had their thing was kind of like Buffy meets Bad Girl type stuff, or kind of cheesecake kind of stuff. But they were fighting demons and stuff. Just a ton of hot chicks running around fighting demons, and he was doing their book. And I saw him on. I actually saw him on DeviantArt, and I was like, "That's the guy right there." And I talked to him, and he actually gave me a pretty good price on that. That was actually one of the most expensive covers I ever had someone do. But he did a real nice cover. I definitely got my money's worth on both of those covers actually. So. I got my money's worth there.
Yeah. Even the cover that you did as well was really cool.
Yeah.
Reminds me a bit of Matt Wagner's work.
That cover was... I did that cover with... I actually... I was trying to figure out what I wanted on the cover. I just want all the characters there. And if you look at that, that's the Batman v Superman poster. That's I'm flipping through stuff, and I was like, Batman v Superman. I like that. And I did that with all the characters, and we made a mistake in the original cover because you see Lady Bathory is on the end. And in the first cover, we had that be Zombie Girl, but that's Lady Bathory. I think Zombie Girl pops up like on one page. She's like just a cameo in there. But that cover and the building back there, that's one of our buildings that pop up on our covers a lot. Yeah. So a lot of times I'll draw something and then I'll pop that in the background. That's a picture I took actually, and we turned those into So I enjoy that. That makes everything look really nice.
There's a character with the character with the yellow, the female with the yellow top and the red afro. I'm thinking of McDonald's for some reason. I'm thinking of Ronald McDonald. Blind Ronald.
You know what? That there may have been something like with that, because for some reason I was just like, she should have a yellow shirt. It's like I don't know why, but I just insisted yellow shirt on that one. So there may have been something going on there.
It really is visually striking. It does catch your eye, especially with her. Is she blind? Because she's got this red cane, bright red cane.
Yes, she is. Yep. She's kind of like she's like our version of Daredevil if Daredevil was a Jewish mystic. So that's
there was another cover that cracked me up. It was Zombie Girl, Ravenous. There's a guy sitting on a sofa. It looks like Michael Jackson, and it's got this female.
Oh God! Everyone says.
Yeah, I think he looks like the guy from what's his name? Fucking Jesse from Preacher.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. But no, I've gotten to Michael Jackson so many times, and like I stopped and I looked at it and I was like, oh wow, there's Michael Jackson. What the hell? I no, people have said that. I know I could say at least I could say several people have said that, like just, and I was, because I constructed this cover, and then I let the artist, there's an artist we used to work with named Von Everett, and she would draw, she was a cover artist, and I drew the cover, and I just said, okay, well, you take it and you redraw it, make it look, and so she redrew it, and that's what the character came out as. And I was really like, good. Okay, excellent. I love that cover, but yeah, I get Michael Jackson all the time for that. And she also did a cover. She did a cover that was a take on Michael Turner's the cover where who was that character? The character who said it. I think that was a Darkness cover too, where the character is sitting in a chair and there's all these women around him. I think that was dark. We did a take on that cover. The Darkness. She drew that too. Yeah,
that's got to be the
she drew that cover too.
Oh, so, Michael Turner could fucking draw, man.
Yeah, I wish I could find more. I wish there was more Dawn, because that artwork for Dawn is insane. That Michael Turner does.
Which character?
Dawn. It's DAWN, and it's crazy. I didn't even know there was. Sorry, go ahead.
I think you're thinking about Michael Gordon Linzer. I think that's his name.
Oh yes. Sorry.
All the Michaels tonight.
Yeah, I mean, right. If your name is Michael and you're drawing comics, you're probably gonna be amazing, I guess.
and the only reason I know that is I remember when Dunn was a small press comic, and he used to I think it was called Cry for Dunn at that point, and I used to follow him in the small press magazines. So he was in like the Fact Sheet 5 and stuff like that. They would review and talk about those books, and then he became the book went big, and it actually hit the comic book shops.
Well,
Michael.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say
Michael.
Sorry, go ahead.
We've got a Chicago-Canadian standoff. It's usually a Canadian standoff.
That's the worst.
Yeah. No, you go first.
I was gonna say we have the way I found out about Michael Linzer, and even Michael Linzer is I had Wizard used to put out these awesome books where it was nothing but posters for comic book covers. Like it was the only shitty thing was they were double-sided, so if you got two artworks you really liked on the same page but on the opposite side, it kind of sucked. But like I saw Dawn there, and it was like I was like, who the hell is this? This is an awesome character and stuff like that. So that's where I know him from. And then I have a book that Wizards put out also, Wizards Magazine, not Wizards of the Coast, but Wizards Magazine, where they what was it? It was a book, and it was like how to draw, and they had Michael Linzer, and he told you sort of his take on certain thing in drawing. So it was kind of cool.
Did you see the one that was really popular? The one where like done, because there's a book where she's on the cover, and the thing says, "Does sex sell?" and she's on the cover just bent over. and like butt facing the, butt forward, just bent over. It's like, does sex sell? Buy this book and find out. I was like, that's like, I'm like, well, that is probably the best way to sell a comic book, because that thing flew off the shelves. That's probably one of his most remembered covers.
We don't let misogyny on this channel, okay? Toxic masculinity.
That's what would happen today if that cover ever popped up anywhere. That's what would happen. They would say, okay, misogyny, and I doubt he would do anything with it, but he'd probably be like, yeah, he would definitely get some flack for that cover today. So, which is sad, because that was one of his most people loved that cover. It's just in your face cover. So that was the way stuff was back in the 90s. And that's why people kind of remember that decade so fondly, because even if you weren't reading Marvel or DC, if you were reading the indies and stuff like that, it was still a fun decade for comic books. Everything was coming out. So
people were,
it was amazing,
making statements. Like there was dynamism and stuff to the work, whereas and there was still plenty of that around in the early thousands, but by late thousands, 2010, and now it's just nobody's trying. It feels, well, not nobody, but nobody in the mainstream is trying.
I think everybody's afraid.
Yeah. I feel like in the 90s, like, it wasn't perfect, our society and stuff like that, and there was a lot more things sort of hidden that wasn't too great either. But I think the thing with the nerd industry is that people had each other's backs a lot more, but not directly. So, like, let's look at the X-Men. The X-Men were basically, indirectly talking about what happened with the Holocaust and what happened with something to do with gay people at the time or whatever. But like Crumple said, it was making a statement. It wasn't out there like flat out, calling people down and shit like that, like comics do today.
Yeah, and I mean an artistic statement.
It was making an artistic statement.
I just realized, it might sound like that was my call to fucking activism.
Yeah, no. But I and you know what? And to further that point, it wasn't necessarily even just saying that either. Like, that was maybe what they had in mind with it. But if you were an outcast of any kind, or you felt like an outcast of any kind, it could resonate with you because it wasn't specifically aimed at a particular person. It was like, hey, maybe these people were persecuted and these people were persecuted, but if you feel like an outsider, outcast, or maybe not as bad as them, but persecuted in some way, this comic is for you anyways. Instead of being like, well, no, only people who were in the Holocaust can really get this comic, and this is for them and stuff like that. It's like, but people, I'm not saying that that was maybe a bad example, but you know what I mean. Like, it wasn't directed at a specific type of person. It was a statement, like Crumple said, but it was directed to anybody who might feel that way.
Yeah, and even on a simpler level, you had characters like, Cable and Spawn and stuff like that, where it was just like bursting with this kind of, like, when I say a statement, I mean just more broadly that, like, the artist had something he needed to get out of his system. And if he didn't, he was going to pop. And
that too.
Now it's like the artist has something he needs to get out of his system, which is usually somebody else's manifesto. Like,
yeah.
And not only do they get it out of their system, there's a overall negativity toward the people that you're asking for money from, and I don't understand it. this idea of, if you don't believe like I believe, I don't want your money, and not only do I not want your money, I don't want you to even have the ability to speak. And it's like, well, okay, I'll just go elsewhere. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that I don't think these people really think about the amount of people that have different beliefs and ideologies in America. They don't really understand how the country seems to work. Or how the country is supposed to work. Their take on it is, the country is XYZ, and we're the good guys and they're the bad guys, and our ideology is the good thing. It's the right thing, except for the fact that your ideology changes, can change every hour if you want it to. So you don't really have a clear ideology. You don't really have a clear statement that you're making.
Yeah. Have you seen what these SJWs are doing to I forgot her bloody name. Is it Teresa Nielsen? I think that's her name. She's I've seen some of her art, and it's really fantastic. She's an artist for Magic the Gathering. She's a lesbian, but she's an open Republican and Trump supporter, and just through guilt by association, these SJWs had gone through like her Twitter and saw that she had liked or retweeted or followed certain right-wing accounts, and now they're basically on a witch hunt against her. They're like, oh my god, I'm not going to buy any more of your cards. I'm getting rid of all your cards drawn by you. And basically they're going to try and pressure Wizards of the Coast.
I hope she drew some really fucking awesome... I really hope that she drew some...
dude, one of them was... I didn't investigate this because I'm kind of sick of all the drama going back and forth, but one of the cards she drew, it was this like fucking huge black guy with this like 6 foot long war sword, and it was like there's this dynamic lighting coming from sort of above down, like, so it's like really contrasting lighting, and then there's these like weird demonic faces in the background, and it's just amazing. And it's just like, who the fuck cares what X she puts in the box, in the ballot box, when she can fucking paint like that?
Yeah. But here's the thing too, is I like that. I hope that is really awesome art, but also I hope it's like this crazy card that's worth a lot of money that people are just gonna like. I'll be like, I'll take it.
It's on par with what's the Gemma's sitting on the sofa. Gemma, what's the art by who does the art? What's it called? That style that's on our wall in the bedroom. What's it called?
Mucha is M-U-C-H.
Pre-Raphaelite, that's it.
Yeah.
I knew it was on the edge of my... Sorry, I was just turning around to my wife then. Her art is very reminiscent of like the Pre-Raphaelite girls.
Yeah.
I think Dante is his name. Dante is one of the... I forget what that... Bloody
There's the most British thing to ever happen on this channel. Darling. It's Pre-Raphaelite.
So there you go. You heard my wife's voice in the background. Usually I send her to bed early, so I'm alone in the living room. But it is proof I do have a wife. Her name is Gemma. She's sitting there on the sofa.
How much did you pay this actress?
Corey said, "How much are you paying this actress?"
A prostitute.
Not enough.
High class.
To be your wife. No, I'm just kidding.
It cost me 3 months of PIP to afford.
So about £5 then.
But yeah, so where was I? Yeah, the art is very reminiscent of sort of the pre-Raphaelite girls
movement.
Yeah. I'll get up on the stream. Here, pre-Raphaelite art or whamming, pre-Raphaelite whamming.
Isn't that like very kind of realistic, or I don't know if that's the right word for it. It's like the stuff you see in churches and some of the. Yeah. Or am I completely wrong about that?
Like stained glass.
That's something. Yeah, like that, or you know, it's like, you know, some of the like, you look at some of the pictures of cathedrals and things like that, and you or I could, like I said, I could be completely wrong about that. You know what? Let me look that up on Google.
So I'm not sure how much more time we have, but I want to ask before we run out of time here, whenever that is. If someone came up to you and said, I'm looking to make a comic book, I'm looking to do what you did, I'm looking to get into this whole comic book business, what would you recommend? What would your advice or recommendation be? What would you advise them to do? What would you be like, you know what, you want to do this, you got to do this, you know?
Run away, quick, fast, in a hurry. No, I would say to, you know what, I was listening to Ethan, to Comic Arts Pro Secrets, Ethan Van Sciver, and he pretty much broke it down. And I think currently Sweetcast, if you guys know about Sweetcast, right? You know what's going on with him right now, right?
I don't.
No,
I unfortunately don't follow a lot of the drama on Twitter and YouTube and stuff.
Sweetcast,
some of it.
Sweetcast just did his campaign, and it was funded in like a day, and it was just based on his work, getting his getting his stuff out there and making his social media presence known, his YouTube channel and things like that. So I think that's a testament to that way of doing things. You create a fan base, and this isn't even just comic book marketing. This is kind of everything nowadays. You create a fan base, and then you put it out there. You say, okay, I'm creating a fan base. This is what I'm doing. You tell your fans, this is what I'm doing. And if your fans want to back it, they will. You make it accessible to them, and they will back it. But I mean, you have to get a certain amount of fans. I mean, if YouTube would actually send my videos out to people, I would probably have like 8,000 fans. Supposedly 8,000 subs, and I can guarantee you all 8,000 subs are not getting my videos. But that's basically what you do. You kind of create this fan following, but you have to interact with them, and really get them to know you. Really get them to be, you want to kind of make it like a family where they want to hear what you have to say. They want to be on your side. They want to help you succeed. And once you get that going, you can do these crowdfunding campaigns as much as you want, as long as you can get your, as long as you're putting out what your fans want and they continue to like it and back it and things of that nature. You can do this for a long time. But that's literally what you'll have to do if you want to get your comic books to go somewhere, because the direct market is probably not going to be here in the next few years. I mean, it's unless there's something completely different happens. I have some ideas how it can change, but I don't know if the people who are working in the industry are really interested in the change that needs to be made, because I don't see them doing the work, and if they do, I don't see them doing it properly. Yeah. I just don't see that happening.
I definitely see indie as the way to go now. I think the big two, we're going to see a gradual decline and this shift in sort of the mainstream. Well, we see it. Their sales are constantly in the toilet, and they're constantly cancelling and rebooting characters.
Well, indie just makes it better for everyone, because if two sides are injecting on this is how Marvel should be, that we've come to know Marvel, and this is how it should be, it makes it very difficult to make sort of a happy medium on two conflicting sides. Whereas if with indie, there's a lot more selection. See, if you don't like it, don't buy it, and if you like it, buy it. And you might, if you don't like it, there might be something else out there that you might like, kind of thing.
Yeah. Jay and sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say there's this idea that you know, the mainstream, at least for Marvel particularly, they don't necessarily need to sell comics. They just need the comics to still be there. So I mean, the question is, and because of that fact, we are kind of pest to them because we want the comics to be done a certain way, and they're like, we don't, we don't care what you want. These are our comics, our characters, and we just need them to be here so we can make movies. So, and I get the idea that they don't even care whether those comics sell or not, as long as they are there. And the only thing they probably really have a problem with is the overhead at Marvel. Paying for the lights and keeping the lights and things on and stuff like that. That's probably their biggest issue. I mean, at the end of the day, the way things are done now, you don't even have to have a company. You don't have to have a Marvel Comics located in a building somewhere. All that stuff is done kind of just to say we're still Marvel Comics, but at the end of the day, they don't even really need that. So there's really no need for them to even care. They just need the books out so that they can have series on.
Yeah, and there would be, like, I agree with you, and I'm not an expert either, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people can think of some suggestions and ideas for Marvel and DC that they could keep going, or they could figure something out. But the problem is, it doesn't really seem like they want to keep going, or they don't seem to know how to keep going. Like, that's the thing.
I don't think they're even really that interested. They,
Yeah.
At this point, they're showing not only that they're not interested in the comics, but they're showing that they have an actual disdain for the fans, which is a weird. It's something that I just don't. I don't get the ideal of asking people for money and at the same time telling them you don't like them, or telling half that group. That's one thing companies never did, was get hyper political, and now it's all the rage. But I think when you get with a big company, you can actually work on the social engineering and stuff that those companies like to delve into from time to time. And if they've made the decision that that's what they want to do, very few people are going to be able to stop that. I mean, if you think about how much Disney owns, they can create any kind of narrative they want, and your average person will probably believe it unless they go and start looking online and things like that. So the ball is in their court, all the way. They get to do whatever they want.
I mean, John Lemus in the chat is saying, big rumor that Disney's going to shut down Marvel Comics and license the properties to other publishers. I just saw Crumple's response to that as well. Wish Disney would shut Disney down.
Well, Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying. What the rumor going around just now is that Disney are going to shut down Marvel Comics and license out the characters to other companies, which is something some of us have been actually talking about for a while. I proposed they're doing it as a measure of defeat, or they're considering doing it as a measure of defeat now. But I was saying, like a year ago, that they could actually turn it into a win. But if they did it like voluntarily and quickly, but they're just getting forced into it now. But
I think I don't really.
People like they're going to shut Marvel Comics down. I'm like, I wish they would just shut themselves down.
The funny thing is, though, is I don't really blame. I mean, yeah, they let it happen, but as far as Marvel Comics, I think that I honestly really believe in tinfoil is on sale at my local supermarket, so I apologize, but I really think that infiltration, some of these groups infiltrated it, got their friends in, used the whole all these social justice cards and everything like that, pushed other people out. And I think that there was nothing really, I don't think Disney was paying close attention to the actual comic department, which maybe they should have. But at the end of the day, I think that it was the actual comic book company that ran themselves in the ground. And maybe Disney did inquire into it, like, hey, how come you guys are losing us money? And they were like, you can't do anything to us because, if you do, then we'll tell everybody you're a terrible company that's racist and sexist and all this, if you do anything about it. So I think Disney was just like, okay, die in a dumpster fire then.
Well, I'm going to have to head off, guys. So I will leave it there. But I hope you have great luck with your IndieGoGo campaign, my man. And
thank you.
Who's watching, please go check it out and throw some money at it. And it looks like you've got a good thing on your hands. So let's keep the momentum up, and hope it comes through for you.
All right. Thank you very much.
It was good.
I've enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, me too, man. I hope we can speak again at some point. So, but yeah, night, everyone. I shall catch you.
You take care, Crumple. I mean, we're about the hour and 15 mark now, and that's sort of usually sort of our length of sort of our episodes that we go. So yeah, come on, people. We need to get Victor Locke, Demon Noir up to $1,000 more. Or oh, sorry, it's in pounds on my end. It's great British pounds.
We need to get like an American.
It's like 1,400 more dollars needed.
I mean,
so we're 44% there.
12 days left. Because I'm glad we got you. That's what we tried to do with a lot of the guests that we get on. We tried to get them on as soon as possible, so there's ample time for people to notice the IndieGoGo or Kickstarter and to donate or spread through word of mouth and on social media and stuff.
Yep.
But,
I love doing these live streams. These are pretty fun.
It is always great meeting new people, new creators, and I'm just gonna subscribe to your YouTube account as well.
Thank you.
Gonna make sure that I watch your films as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I recommend to all the people watching the live stream now, either live or later on, go check. Which reminds me, I'll put a link in the description to the YouTube channel as well.
Cool.
But yeah, Nathyn, is there anything else you'd like to say? We sort of go to our sort of final words.
Just back Victor back Victor Locke, Demon Noir.
Very modest of you. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's the whole reason you're here. Everybody just pick up his book.
This looks really creative, really unique. All the characters look really stylish and unique. And again, I say this to every guest, and I do mean this sincerely. I make it sound like, oh, that's every guest we have on. I say this. I really do mean it. Every guest that we've had on in the past, and yourself as well, you really do have a passion for creating. You got a passion for making comics and for filmmaking as well. And just from the little odd bits on your IndieGoGo, the fight scenes and stuff, like you've really got an eye for sort of your cinematography and the fight scenes and things.
Thank you.
Oh, wow.
I try to create as close as what I see in my head. I try to get that out there and put that excitement out there.
Yeah. Was it all the people? John Lemus saying awesome stream, guys. Jay saying fist you later. He's always like
fucking Jay.
But I really do. I really wish you all the best, man. And so we'll sort of go to final words. Nerd waffle.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this project, man. I would say to people, pick this up. I've been looking at some of the tiers here. I think if funds permit it, I might be picking up the Demon Noir jump set myself if funds permit it, of course.
cool.
But because Flat doesn't pay us. Just joking. No, Flat's. We love doing this. But there's some awesome things in here, and if you look at them, you get quite a bit. Like it's $67 Canadian, I'm seeing, and you get like a shit ton of stuff. You get a few different comics. It looks like, and it looks like you get playing cards, a role playing game, special thanks, and a print. So it all looks good. It looks awesome. I see people out there all the time saying, you know what, we need more black superheroes, and this is how you are, how you be the change you want to see if you were in that boat. And really, I just say, just support this comic, because it looks really cool, and it looks like, he put a lot of hard work and dedication into this. So
I really like that blue cover on the cover that you did. That blue coat that he's wearing. I could definitely see people like cosplaying as these characters.
Yeah, they're great cosplayable characters too.
Thank you. I actually have to make that coat. I have the coat. I have to get. I'm going to give it to somebody to put the flaps. Like the shoulder flaps around it. We're going to put that in the movie.
Oh, so. Cool. Because it's sort of almost like it's like a poncho throw over type thing on top of like a blue coat, like with the collar.
It's a duster, but it's not a really heavy duster. It's just kind of a light. Yeah, it's like a light duster. So I got the coat already. I just need to fix it up.
But to finish my final words, to everybody out there, be the change you want to see. I always sort of pound that in. That's one of my things I always say. And also remember to hug the person next to you, because it may sound silly, but you really don't know how long you have with people. So just make sure you appreciate the people that you care about. And of course, as always, remember to keep everything toasty.
And of course, it's been our very special guest, Nathyn.
And you guys all take it easy.
Yeah.
And thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you.
It's been fun.
And of course, it's been me, Flatmeister, as well. Like I said, I share the same sentiment with Corey. Be the change you want to see. Get those creative juices flowing. So with that, we'll catch you in the next episode of the Flat Pack Show. Remember, it's every Wednesdays, 11 p.m. GMT, which is about 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll catch you in the next episode. Take it easy, everyone.
Asta.
Just play the outro.